Alright, so it's Saturday morning. I'm heading out of town and I'm doing a little bit of a test of my vehicle-borne bug-out kit. So I literally didn't pack anything for this trip. So kind of the premise I'm working off of is some kind of an event has happened that I have to get out of town for, a bug out, and I'm able to leave town with my vehicle. Right now it's winter time. So depending on how the weather is out the direction I'm going, it may make sense for me to make kind of a base camp that in a bug out scenario I might be planning on working out of for a little while. So I'm going to set up a fairly elaborate camp and pretty much utilize the extent of the equipment that I have in here. Part of my strategy with my bug out plan is to avoid as much contact with other people as possible. I believe in the event of a catastrophic bug out scenario where most of the danger would come from is from other people. So I have bug out routes all throughout the county getting me, anywhere between 70 and 80 miles from town that I can take all on backcountry, really, fairly decently maintained, but really rural gravel or paved county roads. I can't stress enough, and I believe very strongly, that everyone's bug out plan really needs to be tailored to their specific needs, conditions, environment, etc. I believe another part of developing a solid bug out plan is to play to the strengths of your environment, to look at what you have to work with and try to take advantage of the strengths of that environment. I'm surrounded by miles of really rural country, so my plan attempts to take advantage of that and utilize all that open country to avoid dangerous areas where people are. I'm getting farther away from civilization now, but I'm also getting into more snow. There hasn't been a lot of traffic on this road, so we'll just have to kind of see how much farther I can get out here. So every good bug out plan gets even better if you can add teammates to it. So we're out here into the desert and I met up with Primal Outdoors, so you'll see the rest of the trip with us together. How's the trip out here?
It's pretty good. Got a little snow. Liking it.
Nice, but the weather's great. We're looking forward to a little bit of a storm tonight maybe, and we'll hit you guys back in a bit. Now this snow's been on the ground for a couple of weeks and it looks like there's one set of tracks in and out on this road. So that's good. And they're not really fresh, so they're probably at least a couple of days old. Now I'm back in an area where the only tracks on the road are rabbits. So I know I'm back in country that there hasn't been anyone in here since the snow hit the ground, and chances are there won't be anyone in here in the foreseeable future. So in our scenario here, we were looking for a spot where we might potentially have to spend a couple of weeks. So we found a good spot here and we're going to start setting up our camp. We picked this spot for a couple of reasons. One, it gives us some cover so we're not obvious to people that might pass by or planes flying over. Two, the trees give us some cover from the weather.
And also there's a lot of junipers that are down around here, so there's a ton of dry firewood. And on top of that, we've seen a ton of game trails, a lot of rabbit tracks going around, plus deer tracks, so there's the opportunity to be able to get game.
So we got a couple more hours of light. We're going to set up our camps and we'll show you guys a little bit of that process. So I know most of you have seen me use the Cascadia Vehicle Tent's rooftop tent quite a bit in my travels. But today I'm going to actually add another piece to it and set up the downstairs annex room to it. Alright, so I've basically got my camp set up here and Primal Outdoors is over there setting up his. But in this scenario, we've bugged out. We've come to a place where we're far enough away from civilization where we feel safe to operate out of this base camp for a couple of days. So we're setting up a fairly substantial camp based on the idea that we may hunt, gather resources, and spend a little bit of time here for two reasons. One, because there are a lot of resources here, and two, because we have a lot of snow coming and we may actually not be able to get much farther than this right now. So I'll kind of show you guys around the camp, but I've set up my rooftop tent, the annex room. I've got my gear back here. My next step will be I'll set up chairs, tables, things like that inside there. And then we'll do a security loop around here and make sure we're alone. But the nice thing about the snow is we can see any tracks out here, and we've been breaking fresh snow for probably the last 5 miles, so no one's coming out in this area and isn't likely to anytime soon.